Straight white male privilege, white privilege, male privilege, etc. Straight white men are probably the least privileged group in society now. Now everyone else has their rights. Now we have to pretend men with a 6-inch penis are women and have always been women. And are women, even though they have a 6-inch penis and don't have a uterus and are full of testosterone, we have to pretend they've always been women. Maybe pedophiles are the last group in society who are discriminated against. But look it up. Quite a few people on the left are trying to change that as well. But there are many groups who are far more privileged than straight white men. First one I'm going to look at is female privilege. I think females are just generally far more privileged than men in society. Women and children first. If a ship is sinking, you can never hit a woman, but a woman can hit a man. Women outperform men at every level of education now. If current trends continue, I may get this figure wrong, but it's something like this. By 2030, 75% of people attending university in the West will be women. And that there was a recent case in the UK of a woman glassing, a repeat offender glassing a man in the face, permanently scarring him. She didn't even go to jail. And if you want to look at the statistics here, consistently in every Western country, and probably every country in the world, women committing the same crime get far higher prison sentences. Consistently, predictably. Yet, the feminists are telling us we live in a patriarchy. We actually live in a matriarchy. We live in a society completely biased towards women. Barack Obama said, he married up to get that chick who was his wife, who's completely irrelevant, who shouldn't be famous. Can't remember her name. Most male politicians do the same thing. They say, I married up. When did you last hear a female politician saying she married up to get her husband? You don't hear that. Why is that? Because we live in a matriarchy where men are there to be pissed on and women are there to be held up. Despite the fact women outperform men at every level of education, in any course where there's a male bias, and there's very few, software engineering, computing, engineering, things like this. In the handful of courses where men outperform women, there's all sorts of get women in tech programs. Girls who code, this shit. There is literally nothing for all men. I mean, you get some programs for black men, but for all men, nothing. Even though women are comprehensively, because of our feminized education system, which treats males as defective girls, basically, instead of harnessing what men are good at, competition, etc. And boys get put on ADD drugs because a feminized education system is trying to educate them as if they're girls. They're not girls. But in an education system that's failing boys comprehensively for those reasons, rather than having programs how can we help boys? There's programs about how we can get women ahead of males in that handful of areas where they're not already ahead of them. How is that a patriarchy? That's a matriarchy. And there are brain chemistry, sex differences widely established in all the psychological literature that show, on average, men and women have different interests. Men are more interested in things like computers and engineering. Women are more interested in people. That's why more people-centered employment appeals to them. But again, it's a female-centered West, not a male-centered West. It's a matriarchy. But we're constantly lied to, pretending it's a patriarchy. Even Obama quoted the 77 cents on the dollar, the gender pay gap. That's also bullshit. The 77 cents on the dollar figure compares all men and all women working in full-time jobs and what they earn. Doesn't take into account the fact men earn more per hour. Doesn't take into account men choose higher professions. Even within the medical profession, men are more likely to choose higher paying specialties like being a surgeon. Women are more likely to choose pediatrics, which is lower paid. Women are freely making these choices. As long as we have equality of opportunity, which we mostly do, and where we don't, that should be fixed. Given a free choice, women choose different professions to men because men and women are different. This doesn't prove a patriarchy. That proves a meritocracy. But again, we're constantly propagandized. There's many videos on YouTube about this. Experiments have been done where they run two experiments. A man and a woman go into a bar. She goes to the toilet he puts a pill in her drink. 8 guys in the bar tell her. Opposite way round, she puts a pill in his drink when he's gone to the toilet on a different day in the same bar or in a different bar. No one ever tells him. Every time you run this experiment, no one ever tells the man. If there's a woman beating the shit out of a man on the street, no one intervenes, rarely. The other way round, within 3 seconds, you've got 8 big guys intervening. More female privilege. Females are incredibly privileged. The whole of Western society is centered around pushing women up and pissing on men. Female privilege is everywhere. Very close to half of all domestic violence is women attacking men. But there's a very big difference. No one gives a fuck about that. When the police arrive, if she's broken a fingernail punching the man, they'll arrest him. They almost always arrest the man. Yes, men are stronger than women. But if you're at home, you're a man, and your wife or girlfriend is beating the shit out of you, what do? You're constantly told you shouldn't attack her, and you shouldn't. No one should attack anyone. But if a woman's beating you, what do? There's almost nothing you can do other than get out of the room. If she stabs you, you're screwed. What are you going to do? So again, this is female privilege. Men do not get this privilege. Men get no privilege about committing violence to women, and nor should they. But the other way around, it's bullshit. And it's the same with false accusations. Women, all a woman has to do is falsely accuse a man. He can lose his job. This happens all the time. Men get kicked out of their jobs just for an accusation. There's many very high-profile cases of this. This is a privilege only women enjoy. Men do not have this privilege. Again, another area. If today, and this is getting worse all the time. Today, you can't have women in bikinis in adverts anymore. If a man even looks at a woman in a sexual way, even if she's got her tits out, this gets the objectification of women. Yeah, you can have a Diet Coke ad with a man with his top off delivering water. Women can say, he's not tall enough for me. He doesn't earn enough money for me. He's not good enough for me. If a man says, she doesn't have big enough tits for me, or she's not attractive enough, men and women are generally attracted to different things, then how dare you objectify a woman? It's a massive double standard. Yet another one. Again, society is full of double standards. Women are held up, men are pissed on. Men are nothing. Men are the disposable sex. Virtually all countries, the military draft, it's men that get sent to the front line. Women either don't get drafted or they're given nice desk jobs or put in a factory or something. I know which one of these things I'd rather have. 97% of workplace deaths happen to men, not women. This is because men choose higher paying jobs and more dangerous jobs, because yes, they're more physically capable, but also earning more money gives men a higher status and allows them to get laid more, get a better wife, essentially. So society is organised in this way. Now, I'm not saying any of this because, look at men, they're so oppressed. I'm just pointing out double standards. And I'm pointing out how society is completely a matriarchy now. It's completely arranged for the convenience of women and to benefit women. Child custody almost always goes to women. Alimony cases. You have men who spend their whole life earning varying amounts of money. Then they get divorced and the woman gets half his fucking money for the rest of her life. What the fuck is that? That is insane. Maybe that made some sense back in the day when women couldn't get jobs, but not anymore. Alimony is absolutely ridiculous. It has no place in a civilized society. Many countries don't have this. The US does, and it's just cancer. Like, why any man would ever get married in the US is beyond me, because alimony payments, man, that will just imagine you 70% of your paycheck goes to your ex-wife who's fucking some other dude, and some of the rest of it is supposed to go to your kids, but no one's monitoring what she's spending it on. She's living in your old house, fucking some other dude in your old bed, and doing the bare minimum for your kids. Female privilege, it's everywhere, and I've probably missed loads of it. But again, when have you ever heard that expression anywhere? And also another big one, actually. You can have feminists. Feminists are everywhere. They're cancer. Modern feminists are cancer. Feminists that go beyond equal rights. I think women should have equal opportunities and equal rights, of course. But that's not what feminism is anymore. Feminism is now basically just fuck men. But there's no balance here. You have feminists on the news, feminists in public, in the public discourse. As soon as you say you're a men's rights activist or anything positive about men, you get ridiculed, you get laughed at, you get shut down. You don't get a say in media as men do. I mean, thankfully, alternative media is here to expose yet another double standard in the matriarchy that we now live in. But it's society is so biased against men, so biased at every level now, and it's only getting worse. It's laughable that we never hear the expression female privilege. Women are the most privileged group in society, easily, and you never hear about it. Why? Because the media are lying to you. The media are pretending we live in a patriarchy, because they're extreme leftist morons. We actually live in a matriarchy.
This was the Deviant Developer Podcast. Tap subscribe in any podcast app to never miss an episode. To contact me or make a welcome donation, go to thedeviantdeveloper.com.